Hello and welcome to Femme-preneur. Yes, you can, ladies. This interview series is specifically geared towards celebrating female entrepreneurs. I want to celebrate who they are, what they went through, how they got to where they are, and honestly, the biggest celebration for this one is the simple fact that they chose to go for it for themselves. We all know that the hardest step in being an entrepreneur is taking that first step, followed closely by not giving up on yourself when the going gets tough, especially for a female entrepreneur. That's what this channel is for. I'm here to interview, to give light, to give all of the praise that you absolutely deserve to all of the ladies on this channel. Thank you for being here and enjoy the show. So today we're here with Ashley and Yamilka, and they have a beautiful business that we get to tell you about today. I'm going to start with question number one for you ladies, and you guys can answer separately because I'm sure that your stories are both going to be a little bit different, okay? So question number one is, did you always know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur? And if not, when did you come to that realization?
So basically, I always had the mindset of an entrepreneur. Since I was very, very young, I was never afraid of the unknown, of what is gonna be next. I took risks my whole life, but I didn't know that that was called being an entrepreneur, like taking risk, especially in business. And I consider myself more an artist, but lately I understood, okay, I may be an entrepreneur. And that I got this epiphany like just recently.
That's amazing, because it was actually something that recently I thought to myself, was that I don't remember in school being talked to a lot about entrepreneurial work. Mm-hmm. Like it was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? But that was never on the list. Mm-hmm. I don't remember ever hearing that word, and I remember when I did start hearing that word, I didn't really know what it was referring to. I had to Google it, right? Mm-hmm. So that resonates with me big time. And what about you, Ashley?
I actually was, and kind of like what you were saying, it's not something that you ever heard about, and it's not, I wasn't raised in a place where that was ever mentioned as a possibility.
Right.
And so I actually didn't really get the idea until I came to Costa Rica.
Costa Rica does amazing things for people.
I know, it does.
We're kind of lucky on that.
Yeah, exactly. And my husband has always been very entrepreneurial. And so since we've been together, he's been helping me to cultivate a feeling of being able to be more than I thought that I could be.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's been really a journey. And at first I really struggled with it, actually. It was kind of interesting that I kind of rejected it because I didn't believe in myself, But over time, he's kind of just worked with me and helped me to open up that possibility. And then coming here, I quit my job, and I was very unhappy in it, And so that we could take this trip, and then we came here, and all of a sudden I was like, okay, I have this time, I have this space, what can I do? Like, can I actually do something? So I kind of dove into the process.
And isn't that amazing what our minds and ourselves can do? I just find people in general these days are so busy that we kind of become so detached from who we are and what we want because we're busy about having to do things like just do the work and pay the bills and so on and so forth and get through to the next day. Mm-hmm. When you have that time to finally breathe, when you give yourself that gift of time to breathe and think about what makes you happy, and for your case, like push yourself out of that comfort zone,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Beautiful things can happen,
yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. So question number two is tell me about yourselves and tell me about your business.
You
can go ahead.
Okay. So I'm from the U.S., and we've been down here since October. I've just always kind of worked in these various administrative types of jobs, but I really, since coming here, have been so interested in wellness, and I've been on sort of a spiritual journey, which has been really amazing. And then coming down here, it just so happened that I met Yamilka one day, and we just totally connected, and we're both kind of on the same sort of wellness, healing, spiritual journey. And we're both very creative, and we have a lot of the same passions. And so it was really neat to sort of meet each other in this serendipitous sort of way, and then come together and start having all these ideas about things that we wanted to do. So we started out wanting to do photography, and then we just kept getting more ideas and decided to expand. So now our business is Yaas Productions, and we came up with that name because it's our names. It's the first 2 letters of our name. So Yamilka is Y-A, Ashley A-S.
I didn't put that together until right now. I love it. I knew there had to be something behind it, because it's not a traditional word, right? So it's like, I'm glad you let us in on your secret.
Yeah. So then it's fun too.
Yeah.
And so now we're doing, branding, identity, branding design, website design, SEO, social media.
So when
marketing,
somebody
all
is
of
getting
that.
into their own type of business and they need support launching that creatively with photography and, like you said, website design and stuff like that, that's when they would reach out to someone like you guys.
Yes.
Especially if they don't understand where they want to be, where they are, basically to have the identity that resonate with the ideal client,
Right.
which is the brand, who they are, their personality. We want to bring that from them to the
Beautiful.
Yes.
So you can help guide them kind of in that
Yes.
right direction by getting to know them and
Yes.
bringing that to your work.
Yes.
That's really special. Because there's something about being actually like attached and your brand properly representing who you are, right?
Yes.
Rather than it just being a logo that was maybe made with no
Exactly.
soul connection,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Yes.
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 Amazing.
And I think we have this natural ability to connect with people because we can feel people. We are quite sensitive, or let's say, and we can feel people, and we can guide them better because we understand them from a human perspective.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you both have a very welcoming presence about you, so that helps,
Thank
right?
you.
Because then people can open up to you and be real and honest with you
Yes.
guys, right?
Yes.
Amazing. Anything else to add to that one? I think we're good. Yeah.
Okay, I was more in Cuba,
were
because I
you?
didn't say what I'm from.
You were born in Cuba. Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. So when did you come to Costa Rica? Like, what's your journey?
The journey have been tough,
Mhm.
but amazing. I mean, I can't complain. I left Cuba 18 years ago.
Okay.
I was quite young, and it wasn't easy because at the time Cuba was quite locked,
Right.
let's say. But I made it, and I became Costa Rican first resident, now citizen.
Excellent.
And yes, I said it wasn't easy, but I tried, and now I'm so proud of myself because of that.
Good
And
for
I'm
you.
here.
You should absolutely be proud. So you went straight from Cuba to Costa Rica.
Yes.
What made you choose Costa Rica?
Well, it's a long story.
Okay.
But basically, it was an opportunity that I knew I have to take.
All right.
Most than
Yeah.
choosing. It was more like an opportunity I took,
Okay.
on my hands, and
I'm really glad you did.
yes.
I'm really glad you did.
Me too.
That's amazing. I love learning people's stories. It's one of my very favorite things in life.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so number 3 is, what hardships have you faced, personal or professional, previous to or growing your business?
So for me, I would say that one of my main hardships really was just learning how to believe in myself, really. I've always had sort of a lot of limiting beliefs about what I can do and what I'm capable of and the goals that I can reach, and I've let those stop me throughout my life. And it's just been cultivating that belief and working on myself and connecting with myself in all these various ways and trying to figure out what am I actually passionate about, and why do I think that I can't reach these goals, and why do I think that I can't have what I want to have, and why do I put myself down and think that other people can do these things, but I don't have that same belief in myself.
Right.
So that's been such a journey, and it's been really healing and really
So question number 3 is, what hardships have you faced, personal or professional, previous to or as you grew your business?
So for me, my main challenge that I had to overcome was just believing in myself. And I've always, I came from a place where I was raised with a lot of limiting beliefs, I should say, around money and about being able to be an entrepreneur or be able to do your own thing. And so it's just been kind of, for me, working through a journey of what am I actually capable of, and why do I think I'm not capable of those things, and why do I have these beliefs that I don't deserve better things, and just kind of processing through those and working through them. And it's been a long process, but it's been really empowering. And then as you go through and you start trying things and testing the waters, being like, okay, I would like to do this. I'm going to try it and see if I can do this. And then you try it and it works and it goes great. And that just builds your confidence up, and then you can say, okay, now I'm going to try like this little bit of a bigger thing. And so you just kind of keep evolving and keep filling it out and growing in your confidence.
Right.
And so now I've gotten to a point where I'm like, okay, I can actually do what I want to do and make it, and I can be anything that I want to be and be successful. And then being in a place like this, it's just such a creative, I don't know, there's like a creative energy here, and I feel like I've really just been able to open up and
opening your mind up to the possibilities that are out there, right?
Yes.
And just knowing that when you think of something, when you think of an idea, it's not immediately in your mind like, that's too hard, that's too far-fetched, that's too big, that's never going to work. It's like, well, let's try it, right? Let's try it. What's the worst that could happen?
Exactly.
And I think that that just is like this new level of freedom for people when they realize that really is what life is all about. Just trial and error. Okay, that one didn't work. Let's move on. What else can we do?
Yeah, exactly. Failure's not that bad. You can just learn from it. And
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Right? It's all learning.
Yeah.
It's all learning is all it
it's all
is,
learning.
right?
Exactly.
As long as you're open to take the lessons and then move forward and rise with them, right?
Exactly.
What about yourself, Yamilka?
I think I have similar, like, mindset, limiting belief, but it was mostly about me. Like for me, like creating and do the things I love, it came so easy.
Right.
That I thought, like, how can I charge for this? I felt bad about charging, and also I think it have to be related to my culture and all the economic situation and political situation in my country that made me believe that I don't deserve to have abundance and a better life and charge for all the values I give to people. And I always felt like holding myself back, like how can I charge for something that is so easy for me to do, to create, and I should be kind to people, but there are
Yes, absolutely. I think this is huge. I'm so glad you brought this up, because I think that it's huge, and I think that it's even bigger for women, because we want to give and we want to care, and it's just in our nature to do so for most of us. And I love that you both brought up limiting beliefs, because I think it's something that a lot of people, specifically again women, struggle with when they're just in life in general, but specifically and especially when they're thinking about starting a business on their own. And it's the number one reason that people will start, but then they'll give up, because those overthinking patterns get into their minds, and then they talk themselves out of it.
Yes.
And learning that what you bring to the table has value, and that you're not being rude or mean or inconsiderate by knowing your worth and charging for your services. There's so many examples that I could give of that, but our time is so precious and so valuable. And when it's not a tangible thing, like when I'm not like building you like a wooden table and being able to give it, it's like we almost don't see that as like a thing that holds value, when your input could be valuable. And there's just so many different little things where learning to recognize your worth, I think, is just a really big thing for entrepreneurial women in general. And I'm really glad you brought that topic up.
And also I think it's important to have balance, and when you are kind to others but you're not kind to yourself, you resent that, and so you want to make sure you're kind to your clients but you're kind to yourself. And that's when you think, okay, is this fair, is this not fair for both of us? And you like, it's a kind of like a deal that you make, and where everyone get what they want in the best way, let's say. Like, it's just embracing everything, embracing your client, embracing your values, and
it's like it's about like putting your energy, right? It's your energy that comes out into the universe, and it's going to come back when it's real and it's authentic, right?
Exactly.
And I think you're bang on with that. So important in business. Number 4 is, if you could go back to the beginning, what is one thing you want to to tell yourself?
If I were to go back to the beginning, I think it would still kind of be in line with those same types of things. I think I'd want to tell myself just to know how talented I actually am and how powerful I actually am and how I am creating my life. You know, my life isn't in anyone else's control, it's in my control, and I have the power through the choices that I'm making constantly to literally mold my life and guide it in the way that I want it to go, and that's something that I'm in control of. You know, so just to know to just decide.
Right.
You know, you don't have to be, oh, is this gonna work? Oh, is this gonna work? Oh, can I do this? Can I not do this? Just decide, you know, and just move forward, make a decision and move forward toward what will get you closer to that decision.
Right.
And just have faith in that process, you know, just that empowerment, I think.
Right. Kind of like a, you got this, just like go for it, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Just
Don't
try
be.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fear's huge, right? And it shows up in so many different ways. Sometimes you don't even recognize that it is fear that's holding you back.
Fear is
Right.
it's like one of the main reason people hold back and don't achieve everything they know they can.
Yeah.
Or maybe they don't know, but they can. I know for sure myself that anyone can
Yeah, I so agree.
become what they want to be. You know?
Right? It's in there.
Yeah,
It's in there.
it's
It's
in
just
there.
having that courage to. Sometimes it's the deep dive inwards that's really scary.
Yeah.
And that's where it all stems, right? It looks like you're scared to start XYZ, but it's really just becoming true to yourself, and that's really scary for a lot of people, you know, especially if you've got things in the past that you need to move through that you're not ready to move through. But eventually you've got to face that. Yeah. And what about yourself?
And yes, what I was saying, like, just don't be afraid to work on whatever you have to work to become that person you are meant to be, because that what I will say to myself is you can become anyone you choose to become. You really can. You can mold yourself. You can leave behind the limiting belief if you work on it, and you can just become a new person if you really want. And if you want to be a business owner, entrepreneur, you can. Trust me, you can.
Absolutely. I love it. I love your beautiful vibes. Number 5 is, what do you think is the difference between you and every other woman out there thinking that they wish they could, or thinking that they can't do something like start their own business?
I think that the difference for me now is, again, just kind of honestly the belief, you know, and moving forward and you know, I found Yamilka, and like us meeting, I think was really powerful. And I think it is really important, you know, to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that are helping encourage you and lifting you up. And if you feel like you're in this place where you don't believe you can do it, like maybe check who you're around and who's in your life and whose opinions you're absorbing, you know, and are these people like really lifting you up? Are they really empowering you?
So important.
And and are you, you know, empowering yourself, and what can you do to just move forward and getting rid of those doubts that you have and that fear that you have, and just making that decision, being like, okay. And sometimes though, the interesting thing is, like, we don't even necessarily always know what we want to do, you know. A lot of the times you're like, okay, if I could do anything, what would that actually be? But so it takes kind of some soul searching and some digging.
Sometimes some trial and error too in that,
yes,
right?
Yes, exactly. Experimenting.
Sometimes what you think you want to do just ends up being a stepping stone.
Yes.
It's still not a mistake, like a beautiful stepping stone that teaches you things that you can carry forward.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and I think everything in our lives is doing that, but we're in a place of it kind of being unconscious, you know, and we're just letting these things kind of guide us. But it's like a lot of the times people, you know, feel like, oh, I'm, you know, 35 and I've never, you know, I have no idea what I want to do. I don't really know who I am. I've been working these jobs my whole life that I don't really enjoy, and it feels so hard to try to start over at that point, and you feel kind of lost in yourself. But if you look back, you can say, okay, I've done this job. Like, what skills have I learned at this job? And what did I like in that job? And what did I not like? And in this position, like, what skills did this actually give me? And kind of tapping into the gratitude for everything that you have learned.
Yeah.
And instead of being like, oh, I hated this position and this was bad and this was bad, looking at it and say, okay, if I hadn't been in this position, I never would have
learned this.
Yeah,
Got
exactly.
this skill.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And do you agree that there's a big part of our culture now that seems to think that like your career or what you're doing in life is like a destination, and like once you get there, that's where you're going to be forever, right? Like that's the goal, is to like find that one thing that you're going to do and you're going to be there forever.
Yeah.
Whereas now I feel like I'm really learning and I'm really tapping into the fact that we're constantly evolving. And if we do get to that one place that we think is the forever place, and we're like, well, gee, I've been here for a little bit, I do love it, I did love it, but now I'm feeling kind of bored and I'm feeling a little itchy, there's almost like a sense of failure and sadness to it, because you start to think and say, oh, well, if this didn't make me happy, well, then what will? Or I really thought this was it and now it's not. When in reality, if we spin that, you're like, you know what, I did this, I loved it, I'm ready to learn something new. I'm ready to try something new. And that's just evolving. There's nothing negative really attached to that whatsoever, right?
Moving forward with curiosity.
Also, I was telling her this morning, I was reflecting about the fact that whether you want to become an entrepreneur or not, you still have to work, especially before, on feeling yourself good, feeling that sense of gratitude, working toward improving every day, even before you become an entrepreneur, because then, as she said, like you will embrace failures as well if you already feel good with yourself. So I would suggest you the first step you have to take is getting to know yourself better and better, and challenging your mind, your knowledge, and of who you are. First.
And as you get to know, like getting to know yourself and learning to respect every piece, right? Even the ones that seem a little bit like shadows, like things that we don't want to look at, right? They're there for a reason. And yes, certainly you can always be doing that inner work to improve on certain pieces, but being respectful enough to know this is a part of you and that's okay, and we're moving through it and we're growing. And as long as we're growing and we're conscious, we're not ignoring, we're working in the right direction, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Yes, ladies.
Yes.
Just say yes.
Say yes.
Okay, so this is the 6th question, and it's possibly my favorite. And we can start with you if you want, Yamilka. What is your definition of a beautiful life? Because it's different for everybody.
For me, the definition of a beautiful life is the life I'm living now. Honestly, it's the fact that you wake up in the morning and you feel grateful for what you have. And you may have challenges. That doesn't mean you're not gonna have challenge, but you still feel grateful and joyful. Because I mean, if you feel grateful, you're immediately joyful. Because look at, I'm living in Costa Rica and I embrace every second of it. The nature, weather, everything is so beautiful because I have the eyes to see that beauty, the simple things. That's the best. I mean, I don't need more than that right now.
Yeah, because you could easily be a person who lives in Costa Rica and only sees big bugs and that it's too high and that
construction,
when rain happens, it rains too much, and the traffic and all of the things that make it a little bit difficult sometimes, but you can also see all of the beauty that surrounds, right?
Yeah, living in the moment and being grateful for what you have, even if it's not everything you want or wish to have, just being grateful is beautiful, and you can enjoy those small things.
And that's a beautiful life.
That's a beautiful life.
What about yourself, Ashley? What is your definition of a beautiful life?
Oh man, I 100% agree with everything Yamilka said.
Right, it's hard to match.
Yeah. Like tapping into that gratitude is the key. You can achieve anything and be anywhere, but it comes from your perspective is really where your happiness comes from. And it absolutely helps if you're able to be in a beautiful location and surrounded by wonderful people who are helping lift you up and doing work that is valuable and has meaning to you and that fulfills you, and those are the things that I feel like are the most important for me. It's like before coming here, I was always trying really hard to tap into that gratitude, and it definitely helped me to feel more grounded and to be happy and be joyful and be loving toward everybody, but still being able to actually achieve being in Costa Rica,
Right.
it adds this natural element, and you meet more people, and there's new challenges that come up, and so it like pushes your evolution, sort of, you know.
You're
and
constantly pushed to learn, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
you have no choice.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and it's just wonderful, and the people that I've met here, I feel like have been just exactly the types of people that I need in my life. And
The universe has answered.
Yes, exactly. And you know, being able to have, and I think a lot of times people feel like they can't be in a location that they want to be in,
Huge.
but you can find a way. You know, it might take work, it might take years, it might take planning, it might take changes in your lifestyle or whatever, but there are steps that you can take to be where you want to be and have that location freedom, and to earn more money, and to, you know, choose who you surround yourself with, and those ingredients, of course, accompanied by all the gratitude and all that stuff. That, to me, having those elements is really
It's a beautiful life.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Life is beautiful.
It is.
It is.
And I asked this question because I talk a lot in my blogging and in all of my social media posts about having a beautiful life, and it's been misconstrued a few times, because I think that when people hear somebody talking about this beautiful life, they automatically think you're referring to like a mansion and nice cars and all of these fancy things. You know, their mind goes in a way different direction, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm just like hoping that everyone's happy and healthy and like learning, and we're grateful and all of those things. Like that to me is like waking up happy, knowing that I get to do something that I love doing today, knowing that my children are healthy. Like that's a beautiful life.
Exactly.
You know,
Yes.
yes, we live in Costa Rica. That's, I mean, that was beyond my wildest dreams for a long time.
Yes.
And that is part of my beautiful life right now. But that's not everybody's beautiful life, and it doesn't have to. Every person has got a different definition of that beautiful life. So I wanted to make that a huge highlight, so that when women realize that if their beautiful life is just moving beyond their current circumstance, if they're unhappy with where they are in life, and their beautiful life is just having a full fridge and being able to provide for their family and changing careers, like that's your beautiful life, and that is what you strive for. And then when you get there, you get to level up if you so choose, right? So just constantly striving for what it is that your heart is looking for at that time.
Yes.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for being a part of my new
Yes,
project.
thank you.
I love having you guys there. And yeah, look for us on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and all the places. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Femme-preneur. It's so near and dear to my heart to have these women share their stories, be real, raw, and authentic, so that every single woman out there watching this knows that if you have a dream, if you feel a calling to go for it, you absolutely can. You have everything inside of you that you need to get started. Don't give up on yourself. You got this. Sending you so much love, so many hugs, and all of the powerful vibes in this world. You got this.